7 surprising reasons why people ignore you. Ever wondered why, at certain times, people seem to ignore you? Is there something you can do to change that situation? In this video, we'll uncover 7 surprising reasons, based on the principles of Stoicism, that might explain this behavior. Join us and discover how to transform your social interactions. Before we begin, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos on Stoicism and personal development. Reason 1. Different interests and priorities. Let's reflect on the wisdom of Epictetus, a master of Stoic philosophy. He taught us the importance of listening more and talking less, emphasizing that, having 2 ears and only 1 mouth, our focus should be on listening. Now think with me, how many times have we felt a bit left out in a conversation? Does this really reflect our worth, or does it just indicate that the other person is more absorbed in their own interests and concerns? By realizing this, we have a golden opportunity to realign our expectations. Instead of resenting it, why not seek common ground? Finding shared interests can be the key to building strong bridges between us and others. Imagine the impact this can have on our daily relationships. Let me share a personal story. I once attended a meeting where I felt my ideas weren't being heard. Initially, it frustrated me. However, I decided to adopt a different approach. Instead of insisting on my point of view, I began to question and actively listen to others. This simple adjustment not only improved the atmosphere of the conversation, but also allowed me to better understand others' perspectives, resulting in more effective and satisfying collaboration for everyone. So I ask you, are we really investing the necessary time to understand the interests of those around us? This is an invitation to reflect on how we can be more inclusive and community-minded in our interactions. Remember, the meaningful connections we build are more valuable than a mere accumulation of contacts. Let's together make this understanding a constant practice in our lives, turning each interaction into an opportunity for mutual development and personal enrichment. How can you start this change today? If you found this first reason interesting, don't forget to like the video. This helps us reach more people interested in Stoicism. Reason 2. Being overly needy or clingy. Have you ever caught yourself feeling like you need others' attention too much? This feeling can often lead to behaviors that others perceive as overly needy or clingy. Indeed, excessive dependence can really push people away from us. Reflecting on the teachings of Stoicism, this ancient philosophy encourages us to cultivate self-sufficiency and inner tranquility. But how can we identify these signs of neediness in ourselves? Some indicators might include difficulty spending time alone, constant need for approval, and fear of being abandoned. Recognizing these signs is the first crucial step towards change. Working on developing a strong sense of independence not only improves our self-esteem, but also enriches our relationships. When we feel complete by ourselves, the connections we establish are based on the desire to share our lives, not the need to fill an inner void. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you always expect your friends or partner to respond immediately to your messages. This behavior can create unnecessary pressure on them. Instead, how about engaging in activities you enjoy, investing in your own growth? This not only relieves pressure on your relationships, but also makes you a more centered and interesting person. Now think about how you can apply these concepts in your life. Maybe start a new hobby, dedicate yourself to a personal project, or simply spend some time in reflection. What can you do today to cultivate your independence and enrich your interactions? Remember, every step we take towards self-sufficiency not only benefits us individually, but also makes our relationships healthier and more attractive. How can you begin this journey of self-improvement? Reason 3. Loss of desire. People's desires and preferences change over time. Have you noticed how interests and desires can transform over time? This change is a natural part of everyone's life. Sometimes you may realize that someone around you seems to have lost the interest they once had. It could be a friend, a co-worker, or even a romantic partner. Instead of seeing this as a setback, why not view it as a valuable opportunity for introspection and personal growth? It's essential to reflect on how our own needs and desires are evolving. Sometimes, this perception of disinterest from others can be a mirror reflecting our own internal changes. Ask yourself, what do I truly value now? What has changed within me? These questions can reveal a lot about your personal development and guide you toward new passions and goals. Let me share a personal experience that illustrates this. Years ago, I was deeply dedicated to a career that demanded a lot from me, to the point where certain friendships began to cool off. Initially, this brought a sense of loss. However, upon reflection, I realized that my own passions and priorities had also changed. This awareness was liberating. I began to seek new connections and activities that were more aligned with my new self, which brought a renewed sense of purpose and joy. Therefore, if you notice a decline in someone's interest, use it as a catalyst for self-awareness. See it as a chance to explore new interests and expand your own horizons. Who knows what new adventures and connections are waiting for you? And now, a reflection for you. What might this change in others' interest be trying to tell you about your own changes and growth? How can you use this moment to rediscover and perhaps reinvent yourself? I want to hear your opinion. Leave a comment sharing if you've noticed this reason in your interactions. Your experience might help others too. Reason 4. Avoiding difficult conversations. Have you noticed that sometimes people avoid talking about certain topics because they are complicated or uncomfortable? This is quite common, but handling these difficult conversations empathetically and directly can turn these moments into opportunities for deep dialogues and constructive solutions. Think about it. When someone avoids a topic, it's usually because they fear the conflict or discomfort the conversation might bring. However, avoiding these subjects only delays the need to face them, often making the problem worse. Therefore, it's essential to develop the skill to engage in these conversations with a balanced and understanding approach. To start, try to create an emotionally safe environment. Show that you're there to understand, not to judge. For example, you could start with something like, "I know this topic might be delicate, but I want to understand your point of view better. Can we talk about this openly and respectfully?" This not only shows respect, but also encourages honest communication. Let's think of a practical situation. Imagine you need to talk to a colleague about their work performance, which isn't meeting expectations. Instead of confronting them directly, how about inviting them for a dialogue, showing your willingness to help? You could say, "I want to discuss how we can improve results together. Is there something I can do to better support you?" By doing this, you not only create a space for the other person to speak without fear, but also turn a problem into an opportunity for mutual growth. So how about reflecting on the conversations you've been avoiding? How can you approach them more empathetically and effectively? Remember, by facing these challenging dialogues, you're creating possibilities for deeper and more meaningful resolutions. How can you take this step towards more open and constructive conversations today? We're halfway through the video. If you're enjoying the content, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Stoicism. Reason 5, being overly critical. Being overly critical can hinder communication and relationships, but there is a way to criticize that is honest and empathetic. It's called constructive criticism. Knowing how to do this not only improves our interactions, but also helps in our own growth and that of others. When we talk about constructive criticism, the key is balance. The idea is to give feedback that is helpful and encourages the person to improve, rather than just pointing out errors. To do this, it's important to focus on what needs to be corrected and also how to say it in a way that the person will accept well and feel motivated. For example, instead of saying, "You did this wrong," how about saying, "I saw that you had some difficulties here. Maybe trying it this way would work better. How about we try together?" This shows that you're on the person's side, helping them grow, not just criticizing. Moreover, being open to receiving criticism is crucial. When we listen to and consider others' opinions, we show respect and also open space for our own development. Receiving feedback can be tough, but it's a valuable chance to understand how our actions are perceived and how we can improve. A practical tip: next time you give feedback, start by highlighting something positive. Then, state your improvement suggestions clearly and respectfully, and finish with another positive point. This feedback sandwich helps keep the conversation positive and productive. So how can you use constructive criticism in your daily life? How can this approach improve your personal and professional relationships? Think about it and see how small changes in the way you communicate can bring great benefits to you and others. Reason 6. Social anxiety or depression. Dealing with social anxiety or depression is a reality for many people, and these conditions can lead to isolation. Understanding this is essential to offering appropriate and sensitive support, respecting each individual's boundaries. When someone faces these challenges, it's crucial to approach the situation with understanding and patience. This requires recognizing that even though you want to help, you must respect the other person's space and pace. Empathy is key here. Put yourself in their shoes and try to understand not just their feelings, but also how to offer help without being intrusive. An effective way to offer support is by being present in a discreet and consistent manner. This can be as simple as sending regular messages of encouragement or sharing light activities, like taking a walk in the park or watching a movie at home. These gestures show care and availability, but allow the person to choose how much they want to engage. Let me share an example that illustrates this approach well. A friend of mine was going through a period of intense social anxiety and often cancelled our plans at the last minute. Initially, this could be frustrating, but over time, I understood it wasn't personal. Instead of pressuring him, I started to adapt our meetings to activities he felt more comfortable with, like playing video games online instead of going out. This helped maintain our connection and gave him control over how he wanted to interact. Now, a reflection. How can you offer support in a respectful and understanding manner to the people in your life who might be facing similar struggles? Remember, kindness and patience can be incredibly powerful in helping someone feel less isolated and more supported on their journey. Lastly, it's always helpful to remember that while we can offer support, professional help from a therapist or counselor is often crucial for those dealing with social anxiety or depression. Encouraging someone to seek this kind of assistance is also an important form of support. How can you be an even more effective ally for your friends and loved ones in this situation? Remember, our strength lies in our ability to support and uplift each other. Be that source of strength and compassion. Before we move on to the last reason, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video with your friends who might benefit from these tips. Reason 7. Conflict or disagreement. Facing conflicts or disagreements is a part of everyone's life. How we handle these moments can completely change the course of our relationships. Staying calm and practicing active listening are important tools to navigate these challenges respectfully and productively. When a conflict arises, the first thing to do is take a deep breath and try to stay calm. This prevents impulsive reactions that can worsen the situation. Staying calm also helps you truly listen to what the other person is saying without thinking about your next response. Active listening goes beyond just hearing. It's about understanding the message being conveyed through both words and expressions and tone of voice. This means reflecting on what is being said and paying attention to the emotions behind the words. You can show that you're understanding and validating the other person's feelings with phrases like, "I see this is really affecting you. Can you tell me more about what you're feeling?" However, not all disagreements can be resolved, and it's important to accept that. Sometimes, the best solution is to agree to disagree. This shows maturity and respect for the other's opinions, even if no agreement is reached. Doing this preserves dignity and mutual respect, maintaining the quality of the relationship. For example, imagine a discussion about politics, which tends to be very polarized. If you notice the conversation is heating up and is no longer productive, you can say something like, "It seems we have very different opinions on this subject. I respect your view and hope you respect mine. Maybe we should focus on something we have more in common." With this in mind, how can you apply active listening and calmness the next time you face a conflict? And in what situations do you think it would be most useful to agree to disagree to maintain mutual respect and the integrity of the relationship? Reflecting on these questions can help you better prepare for future disagreements, turning them into opportunities to strengthen your relationships rather than weaken them. Ultimately, the quality of our life is shaped by how we respond to challenges, a central teaching of Stoicism. Cultivate an open and resilient mind and see every obstacle as an opportunity for personal growth and to strengthen your connections. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content on Stoicism and personal development. Leave in the comments which reason you identified with the most.